Hello, IEJ76 here, Ian. This is my first ever Apex Online Racing League event. This is Formula 1 2017 for the PlayStation 4, and it's the 8th tier, so F8, and it's round 1 at the Australian Grand Prix. And I qualified on 10th position on a 126.286, which I was reasonably happy with. 15 people, I think, taking part in this event. And I'm driving as the first Force India for this race. So I'm planning to do a 2-stop race, ultra soft, then super soft, and then super soft. And here we go. We're about to start the first race of the season in 10th place. Make sure I don't spin the wheels up too much. I'm about to go, and I'm off. Not a good start at all. I just need to hold my station here. And the Ferrari's come across and taken me out on the first lap of the first race. Nothing I could do. You can see I've got really bad wing damage. My wing's gone, I think, completely. If it's not, it's heavily damaged, and that's ruined my race from the get-go. It's the sort of thing that you might expect on a normal multiplayer race, but I'm sure that was just an innocent mistake. Someone getting it wrong. It wasn't as if someone deliberately took me out. I just had nowhere to go. So now, down in 10th place, see, I'm understeering all over the place without this wing. We've got Sek, who's going to try and come around the outside of me. I'm not sure if he's got damage or whether he was just cautious and holding back in that race. But now, what we're going to do now, we're going to have to pit. Oh, crikey, there's 2 more cars off there. Oh, I've got to just try and not lose a wheel and retire, and at least use this as a practice race to get through there. I'm just going to see what I'm going to pick as my next strategy as another McLaren goes off in front of me all over the place. Who's that? It's Dragon C4 in the McLaren. So unbelievably, I've made 2 spots up despite having a crash on the first lap of the race. So keep it steady now. I'm going to have to use the softs, I think, which I didn't want to use. I'm not particularly good on the softs. I wanted to use only the ultras and the super softs, but I'm going to have to stick with the 2-stop strategy, which means I'm going to have to go. Oh my goodness! Oh, another McLaren. Sorry, I didn't mean to do that. But you came out right in front of me, Boniface. I'm going to have to go on 2-stop strategy, so I think we'll go super soft next, and this is actually what Jeff the engineer is advising that we do. And somehow we're back on our grid position of 10th, and let's see how we do here. Now, I'm pretty rubbish at coming into the pits. I'm normally way too cautious. Look, I don't want to get a penalty if I go into the red. It's 37 miles an hour is the speed limit. And Mr. Robin HX ghosts past me almost. I was so slow coming to the pit lane. So let's hope our boys can give a good quick change here. There we go. On go the red marked super soft tyres. A new wing. Come on, boys, hurry up. Haven't got all day. And we're off, and we're down in 12th, but we're not last. So we're going to hopefully have a battle with somebody in this race and see how we go. There may be some people doing 3 stops. I doubt it. I think it'll be 1 or 2 stop race so far. Try not to put the power down too much coming out. Be careful not to cross over the white line, or we'll get a penalty, which is the last thing we need at the moment. So up ahead is Dragon C4. He's still on the softs. I didn't notice there whether he stopped or not. Probably not, I think, because he's a long way up the field, and we did pass him on that chaotic first lap. So I was pretty stable. We move on to lap. What lap are we on? I can't see. Lap 7, sorry. And we're in 8th place. Some other people have had issues and come in for pit stops as well. And this is the first sign of a loss of concentration. Brake way too late. And actually, I could have easily spun that into the wall, but I managed to rejoin and live for another day. On to lap 12 now. Up into 7th place. Cross the line up into 6th because Denzamo's come into the pits. And so we're in a not too bad position at the moment, but my real concern is whether we can stretch the super softs long enough to be able to run a decent stint on the softs. My tyre management is not good on this game. It's an area that's a real weakness for me, so I need to find a way, I think, in practice to get stronger so I can run less stops. So moving on to lap 14, this is when I intended, in fact, under the new strategy, to stop. But let's see if I do any better coming in with the speed limit. Remember, it's 37. Oh, see, too cautious. I'm down to under that. That was better than the first one, but still too cautious. But Mr. Robin HX, who stayed fairly close to me, has come in right behind me, and again he's done much better on the entry to the pit lane. So I think he's gained potentially a couple of seconds. In fact, yes, he's right behind us. And interestingly enough, as we go on the softs, so we can run to the end of the race, Mr. Robin is on the super softs, which now that could mean he has to do another stop, but I suspect he'll try and stretch it out. So he's likely to be pretty quick at the start, and I might have some problems holding him off, but I'm not going to fight him too much. Let's just see how we go on these softs. I'm not a great fan of these softs on this circuit from practicing earlier in the week, but if he gets past me, he gets past me. I just want to finish this race, and at the moment it looks like I could get a point or two, so I just want to have a steady race and see what happens. So moving on to lap 19, as you can see, still in 7th place. Mr. Robin HX is not too far behind, and we cross the line onto lap 20, and the reason I'm showing you this lap, it's going to be my fastest lap of the race. It's not going to be a particularly impressive time, and really I shouldn't really be setting my fastest lap on the soft tyre, which is the slowest available, but obviously the fuel load's come down, which has helped. But it was a reasonably clean lap for me. It's not going to worry anybody towards the front of the grid. But it's just, I just concentrated on using the performance I still have in these soft tyres without taking too many risks. So as we go through the lap, let's see how I am with hitting apexes. See, late apex there, missed that altogether. Now that alone can cost you a couple of tenths. So it's pretty obvious where I can improve, which is being a bit more precise on my turn-ins. That wasn't too bad. Yeah, that was pretty good. And also making sure I don't lock up. I either tend to hit the brakes too hard and fast, or I'm overly cautious and hit the brakes too early. This was nicely taken for me there. That's probably the best I've taken that all weekend. It shows it can really gain you time down this straight. This corner here used to be a real pain for me. I used to hardly ever get it right, but as this race has gone on, and this one as well, I got slowly better at it. So I was really pleased actually with the consistency that I managed to put in on these soft tyres, and it's made me a bit more positive about going for the harder compounds available in each race. So we crossed the line. It was 129.2 previously. What do we do? 129.0. Oh, I wanted to get into the 128, but didn't quite manage it. Now up onto lap 23 in P6 still. Mr. Robin HX is a long way behind us now, and I'm about to be lapped by McQuiz, who's leading in the Mercedes. Trying my best to get out of his way. I think I did a decent job of that, and at this point I remember thinking to myself, right, let's just try and stay with him, let's see where he's quicker. And although he's, you know, a couple of seconds a lap in qualifying quicker than me, it doesn't look like he's moving away quickly, but all it takes is maybe 2 or 3 tenths of a second on each corner. You know, an average circuit might have 14-15 corners. You can see how that can build up to, you know, over a second or a couple of seconds of time. And I stuck with him a little bit, but he soon gets out of sight. But I'm just overjoyed with 6th place at the moment. Right, so moving on to the end of lap 27, start of lap 28, which is my last lap because I've already been lapped. At this stage, I think it's only McQuiz that's lapped me, but I've got the 2nd, 3rd place cars coming up close to me. So, well, an interesting race. I wouldn't have thought I would get P6 at the start, really, from P10, but let alone after the shenanigans on the first lap. A couple of minor offs, but nothing too bad, so I just need to bring it home. Don't do anything stupid like that. And that could have been race over. If I'd hit that at a slightly different angle, I would have lost my wheel and I would have retired, which I think would have classified me maybe P10. I might have got a point, but heart was in the mouth there, or as Murray Walker say, heart plunged to his boots. And I've got wing damage, but again very lucky that Mr. Robin HX is far enough behind me. I think he seemed to struggle on that last stint, that I can probably cruise this home as long as I don't crash it, as we let another guy, Wild Ditto, in 3rd place go by. Washy's already overtaken us in 2nd, so the whole podium has lapped us, but that's not to be unexpected. When you're looking at a qualifying deficit of nearly 3 seconds, you can expect, I think, to be lapped by the top guys. So at this point I was just concentrating, just finish the race, just get home in 6th. So I'm being really cautious, because even the slightest amount of wing damage in F1 2017, it really does affect your handling. And obviously I'm dealing with no traction control, which I've only been playing with a couple of weeks actually, so I've got to be really careful. But I come through the last corner, Relieved that it was a driving race. Really happy with 6th place. Lots to improve on, but I can't really complain too much about 6th place, and a really enjoyable race to have. So this is me just coming home. So the winner was McQuiz, the Estonian driver, in 1st place in the Mercedes. 2nd place was Washi, and 3rd place Wild Ditto. And look at this history moment here. The first time that identical triplets have got on an F1 podium. Look at that. That must be a very happy household. But well done to McQuiz, who was the only guy, I believe, to run a one-stop strategy and made that work. And I certainly couldn't have done a one-stop. I'll have to work a lot on that to be able to do that. But lots of shout outs to people in this race, obviously to Denzamo for hosting, and Washi03 as the lead coordinator, and Soup Cooler, who actually broadcast the race live and streamed it and was excellent with his commentary. So I enjoyed watching that back straight after the race. There's my lap times if anyone wants to pause them. A bit all over the place as you expect, but there's the top 3 for you: McQuiz, Washi and Wild Ditto. The next race will be next Sunday in China, and I'll try and record my take on events within a couple of days of that. But thanks very much for watching. I really enjoyed it. Round 2 in Shanghai next weekend.